this video, I'm going to briefly introduce learning to speak clearly through pronunciation instruction. We'll start by talking about student expectations, then we'll review some of the most important pronunciation topics to learn, and talk about some of the best ways to improve your pronunciation. So before we get started, I want to talk about first the overall goal of pronunciation instruction. So the main goal is clear speech, to be easily understood by the listener. And the goal is not accent reduction. So we're not looking to sound like a specific type of speaker. Rather, we're looking to be successful speakers who can easily communicate with others. So generally, in my experience, students think that the best way to do this is through sound instruction. So they want to learn how to correctly pronounce individual sounds. And they seem to want this based on previous experience in other classes and their perception of what pronunciation is. But research suggests that this is not the most effective approach. Research suggests that prosody is actually more important for effective pronunciation instruction, because prosody is what English speakers rely on the most when they're looking to understand what someone is saying. So what is prosody? Prosody is the rhythm and melody of speech. Prosody includes intonation, which is the pitch or melody of what you're saying. It includes thought groups, which are how you group your words and where you put your pauses in your speech. It also includes focus words. So which words do you highlight, or what information do you emphasize or make important as you're speaking? And it also includes syllable stress. So which vowel do you emphasize within a word? These things are more important than individual sounds when it comes to speaking clearly. So some of my recommendations for improving pronunciation include, first, focus on clear communication. Don't focus on acquiring a specific type of accent. Instead, focus on being easily understood. In order to do that, you need to focus on prosody. So focus on these different elements rather than only thinking about individual sounds. In order to improve your prosody, you should imitate others. So you should imitate people whose speech is clear, and that can be both native and non-native speakers. After you've imitated others and you want to practice on your own, learn to self-monitor and identify your own weaknesses. And in the process, be patient, because this process takes time. So for self-monitoring, first, you can record yourself and review the issues that you have. So you can listen for different areas of your pronunciation, your intonation, your thought groups, your word stress, and you can see what it is that you need to continue to practice. In addition, when you're communicating with others, you should keep track of the misunderstandings that occur and analyze why they happen. So are you having issues with communication because of pronunciation, such as your intonation or thought groups? Or are you having issues with communication because of other things, such as cultural differences or vocabulary? In addition, in this process, you should use your resources. You're not always going to know what your own weaknesses are, and you're not always going to know why misunderstandings occur. So use your English instructors or other resources to help you understand what's going on and what it is that you specifically need to work on. Most importantly, you need to be patient. Clear speech is a habit that has to be formed. It requires both new muscle practices and muscle memory, and a new way of thinking as you're speaking. You wouldn't expect to learn how to play basketball or play the piano within just a few hours of practice. And in the same way, you're not going to completely change your pronunciation after a couple of hours. You're going to have to regularly practice and form new habits. So some main points to remember. The main goal of pronunciation instruction is to form a new habit of clear speech. And in that process, prosody is more important than individual sounds as you're practicing and learning. And use recordings with transcripts to practice and analyze your misunderstandings to better know what to do and how to improve.